My name is Eunice. I'm an entrepreneur, speaker, and trainer. Welcome to my channel on daily people skills. Many people think that people skills is just about EQ, communication skills, leadership skills, but people skills go much beyond that. At the bottom line, it is about who you really are. Because before you can manage anyone, you must first manage yourself. So let's jump right into today's topic. Today we are going to talk about the power of the tongue. In my last video, I talked about our eyes. We see what we want to see. This week, we want to talk about the seemingly small yet so powerful organ of ours, which is our tongue. In the good book, there is one particular verse that is so true. That is, the power of life and death lies in the tongue. Basically, it's saying that you can either instill life or cause death to someone just by what you say and how you say it. Many experiments have been carried out throughout the whole world on the impact of words. One famous example is by this Japanese scientist named Dr. Masaru Emoto. For over 20 years, until he passed away in 2014, he studied the scientific evidence of how the water molecule transforms when it is exposed to human words, thoughts, sounds, and intentions. Basically, he has two containers of water. One is exposed to positive words, loving words such as thank you. The other is exposed to negative, mean words like you disgust me. He then freezes the water, and under a very powerful microscope, you could see the crystals of the frozen water. Well, you guessed it. The container of water exposed to the positive words formed beautiful clear crystals like this. But the other container of water, which was exposed to negative words, were ugly to say the least. They were more like distorted, disformed, and looked like this. Think about it. If the words have an impact on the waters and our body is made up of 70% water, what do you think will happen to our body, our physical health? And what about our soul and mind, which is so closely connected to our physical body? When you are in a conversation with someone, do you bring life to the table? Does the other person feel more alive, more uplifted, more encouraged, more hope, more inspired than before the start of the conversation? Or do you bring death? Does the person feel even more depressed after talking to you? So be very aware of this. I would say this is the most important criteria of a people person. I'm not saying that you cannot correct someone or hold someone accountable for what he or she should be doing. I will cover this point later on. Before that, I want to cover the next important point, which is point number 2: speak what you want to see and not what you are seeing now. Now that you know your tongue can be so powerful and your words have an impact, choose wisely on what to say and how to say. From now on, I want you to start speaking what you want to see and not what you are seeing now. This can be towards the behavior or the person. So, for example, instead of saying, "Why are you always so disorganized?" or "Why are you always late?" say, "I need you to be more organized so that," and explain the importance of being organized. Or, "I believe you can be a very organized person." For some people, you may not see the change immediately, but if you keep focusing on his growth rather than your expectation, he will one day reach your expectation. We talk about gradient of change in our previous video. You can check it out, that video. Human beings tend to live up to other people's expectations. We don't like to disappoint others, no matter how much we say we don't care. But you may ask, what if the person really let me down, or is pulling the whole team down? Am I just going to sweep under the carpet, ignore it? Absolutely not. I always believe in accountability and keeping your promise. I don't believe in being an ostrich and hide your head in the sand and avoid the problem. Nip it in the bud before the problem becomes a catastrophe. Which brings me to my third and final point. Number three, correct the behavior, not the person. We always separate what the person does from who the person is. For example, in our example, an admin person is being disorganized, and because of that, the company missed the deadline of a project tender, or the salesperson who has repeatedly failed to meet his quota, or the finance person who always leave things to the last minutes and miss out paying the supplier, and now the supplier refused to supply goods to the company, and because of that the company is unable to deliver goods to the customer, and now receiving tons of customer complaints. Yes, I understand that because I have come across people like that as well. When you do correction, focus on what he did or did not do, the behavior, not the person. In our above example, for the admin person, it could be a lack of organization skills, or it could be a lack of knowing the impact of being organized. For that salesperson, it could be a lack of training, or maybe he's just not suitable for the job. And for that finance person, it could be a bad habit of cutting it too thin. If so, bring forward the deadline for her. Find out what's the root cause. What treat the problem, not the symptoms. Reposition the person. Do what you need to do, but correct the behavior, not the person. Example, do not say you are disorganized or you are forgetful. Say you need a better system to remember things. In this way, you focus on what the person can do, which is more constructive than simply labeling the person or shouting at that person. No matter what you do, no labeling of that person, no name calling, no insults. No matter how angry you are, it is not an excuse to disrespect and put someone down. Why is today's topic so important? Because this is the fundamental of interacting, working with another person. Once you understand how important this is, all the other principles and lessons will fall into place naturally and almost effortlessly. And that's how you, my friend, improve your people skills on a daily basis. Right, there are 101 things we can talk about on this topic, and we can go on and on. But I'm going to stop here for now. This video is not to judge, criticize, or label anyone. We are all guilty of making mistakes, overlook things every now and then. We are all humans. But just be conscious about it from now on. So, what do you think of today's topic? Share with us in the comments. Like and share this video. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out any precious episode. We'll see you in our next video.